It is fair to say it was a very difficult weekend for Red Bull around the Bahrain International Circuit. They were relatively nowhere in qualifying, and during the race it wasn't that much better really. Max Verstappen labouring to a P6 finish, just overtaking Pierre Gasly's Alpine on the last lap. An Alpine car that hadn't scored a single point before that weekend in Formula 1 in 2025. Meanwhile, things are looking better for Yuki Tsunoda. At least he was in the top 10 during qualifying, and he ended up finishing P9 in the race, which is not a bad effort when you consider that he only just drove the Red Bull RB21 for the first time a week ago in his home race in Japan. But Marko, Dr. Helmut Marko, the man that loves a quote in the media, now says that he is having huge concerns about Max Verstappen leaving that team. Now, of course, Verstappen is officially contracted with Red Bull Racing until the end of the 2028 season, so he, in a sense, isn't going to go anywhere. Or is he? There's been a lot of rumours about him going to Aston Martin, that fabled $1 billion deal that Lawrence Stroll is wanting to table for the four-time Formula 1 world champion. Some say the greatest of all time. Of course, Lawrence Stroll is somebody who loves signing a world champion. He's done that with Sebastian Vettel and Fernando Alonso in the recent past for Aston. Will he go for a third champion in a row after Alonso either gets pushed aside or moves on at the end of his contract in 2026. Let's see what happens here, guys. Now, I've got the full story here with me. I do not have the article, unfortunately. The guy that makes these articles, Jared, is away at the moment. I am back after a few days away, and now he's away. It's the wonders of the school holidays. Even though we are half a world away from one another, we still have these timing issues, as it were. But I'll put some pretty pictures on the screen so you don't have to look at my face the entire time. Let's have a look at why the doctor is getting a bit worried about Max Verstappen. As Red Bull's performance situation worsens in unison with Max Verstappen's mood, speculation is refiring that the team could be set to lose its star driver. While the corks were popping at McLaren as Sunday in Bahrain established Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri as 1-2 in the drivers' standings, an emergency meeting was already taking place at Red Bull. Multiple reports say that Christian Horner, Dr. Helmut Marko, Pierre Vaca and Paul Monahan were frenzied in talks about a dire night under the floodlights. A little later, Marko was seen in a heated exchange with Verstappen's manager, Raymond Vermeulen. The quadruple world champion himself, though, had no intention to engage. Not at the moment, Verstappen said when told by Viaplay that he has a lot to discuss with his team. You go. I don't feel like it. He insisted that struggling to finish any higher than P6 came as no surprise to him on a high degradation circuit such as Bahrain. I already warned about it during the winter test here, said the Dutchman. I told my team, watch out, the gap is half a second, and that has now proven to be true. So in that respect, I was right. I don't think he feels good about being right in this case, though. After a similarly bad Saturday in Sakhir, team boss Horner did not even speak with the media as per usual. Our car is simply not balanced, team advisor Marko said late on Sunday, and we don't know what the problem is. I suspect it's mainly an aerodynamic problem. In the past post-race emergency meeting, it is believed that Red Bull decided to make immediate changes, including how the team approaches Fridays at Grand Prix. We need to question our approach, Marko admitted. For example, we must have better practice programs and that we use the engine more to understand where we stand. We have very good people, but they have to look within themselves. And everyone has to be open and honest. We know the car isn't competitive, but why is that? It looked pretty competitive in Japan, literally a week ago. What's happened? For Verstappen, who is in Bahrain and writing off his chances of winning a 5th consecutive title, Marko does not have good news. In the short term, there is nothing we can do technically. At least when we're in Europe, there should be hopefully progress. But with a performance like this, we won't be able to defend our World Championship title. And that's not good because we risk losing Max Verstappen. It is believed that if Verstappen drops out of the top 3 point standings, an exit clause will be triggered. Marko is not hiding that he's worried. The concern is huge, said the Austrian. There must be improvements that will allow him to win. We are very concerned and there are things going on at the moment. It is not clear what things are going on, but Sky Deutschland said on Sunday that Mercedes boss Toto Wolff said that he's increasingly excited about the prospect of perhaps signing up Verstappen for 2026. "We are keeping both feet on the ground," said Wolff. "We are happy with the way things are." The problem for Wolff is that George Russell, whose contract is up for renewal, is riding on a crest of consistency of good performance at the present. I mean, there's worse problems to have, but it's very difficult to legitimise getting rid of him at this point because he's doing really well, is Russell. Ralf Schumacher, however, is convinced. "I think the game is over," said the former F1 driver. "The only hope is that there is a Red Bull in Imola that suddenly competes for wins, but in Verstappen's position, it is logical that he wants to compete for wins. He has the opportunity to choose the best car in the paddock, and Red Bull is obviously not that. But with Verstappen's exit rumours set to heat up even further, Red Bull may need to consider a drastic move, like shuffling prominent names out of current positions. That's not a question that arises right now," Marko insists. Sure, Marko, sure. I mean, this is the thing, right? They are not doing well, like, behind the scenes. They haven't been for a long time. It's been chaos. There's a real infighting, a war. There's factions there. You know, you've got the Verstappens and Marko on one side, and then you've got Horner, and then you've got the owners on the other. Honestly, it's a real civil war in Red Bull, and it has been for quite some time. I mean, yeah, we'll have to see what happens with it. There are these rumored performance clauses in there, and you can't say that Max Verstappen's not getting the most out of that car, because he absolutely is. He's putting it into places it does not deserve to be for the most part. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I've spoken about my thoughts about what could happen with Verstappen for a very long time. It seems that Mercedes and Aston Martin are the two likely destinations, and some people might say, well, what's going to happen to George Russell? They'd get rid of him. What's going to happen to Alonso or Stroll? They'll get rid of one of them. You know, they just will. 100%. 100%. Especially with Aston Martin. You got a chance to sign Max Verstappen. They'll take that. Lawrence Stroll boot his son out of the team. Lawrence Stroll get Alonso out of the team. I do think that would mean that Alonso would go, if I'm being honest. Can you imagine Alonso and Verstappen in the same team? You are asking for trouble with that. You really... Not so much on Verstappen's side of things, I don't think. I'd be looking more to Alonso. We know what games he likes to play. I mean, you might say, oh, he's been pretty chill recently. He's not done the same sort of things. Yeah, but he doesn't have a teammate that he feels threatened by. Even though Lance Stroll right now is absolutely schooling Alonso in the championship, to be honest. Very early days, of course, and I expect that will eventually change. But yeah, Alonso's having a terrible season. So that could give them all the ammo they need. Oh, Alonso's not performing. He's not getting points. He's worse than Stroll right now. Let's get Verstappen. So we'll see what happens, guys. I am fascinated. I mean, this is the thing that with Red Bull, they change so much. They could come to Saudi Arabia this weekend and get a podium. I could genuinely see that happening. I don't think it's likely, but it's possible. They are able to turn things around very quickly. Their car is very inconsistent. I think that's how they do it. They're not exactly turning things around. I just think that car is a very narrow operating window when it's competitive, and it seems to do better in cooler climates. It was quite good in Australia. It was cool there. It was quite good in the race in China. You know, it wasn't terrible, it wasn't amazing, don't get me wrong, but Japan, of course, oh my god, they won the race, didn't they? So, but in Bahrain, nowhere really, and it was quite hot, and it's going to be quite hot in Saudi Arabia as well. So, yeah, not looking too great. But yeah, your thoughts in the comments below, guys. Is Verstappen going to look for a way out if this kind of performance continues? If he drops outside the top 3 in the championship, which could happen. You know, you've got, I think he's 3rd at the moment, but George Russell's not far behind. If he continues his Mr. Consistency performances, where I believe he's not been outside of the top 3 in any sessions, that includes the races, the sprint races, and as well in qualifying, any competitive session, I should say. Practice is different, not competitive, doesn't matter. But if you include qualifying as well, I think every single qualifying session, Q1, 2, and 3, he has been in the top 5 every single time, which... it's crazy. It's crazy to think about. That is unbelievable consistency. So how can you get rid of him? Well, if you've got a 4-time world champion wanting to join, you might well do. So we'll see what happens, guys. Like, share, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I hope you did. And yeah, we'll see you soon for some more content like this on the weird and wacky world of Formula 1. Is silly season starting already? There's tremors. There's rumblings that it's getting underway.